This video is sponsored by the Design Mechanism, the makers of Mythras. Mythras is a registered trademark of the Design Mechanism Inc., used with permission. All rights reserved. Right, I'm live. Let's see if you're live as well. Someone talk.
No.
La, la, la,
Yeah,
la.
excellent. We are live. Hello. Hello, everyone.
I hate you, Medivac.
we are the people who play Mythras. If you might remember us from a few weeks ago, we are back, and super exciting adventure tonight. I think I'm right in saying that two of the party members are separated, and I think Hasra is hiding by a sewer entrance, and Cyrus is trying to make friends with sailors down at the docks, and I think Hengist and Bartleby have just had a very strange encounter. I think you had lunch or evening meal with Christoph, and he gave you a rather interesting proposition. And you both came away with something that I messaged you in Discord. So hopefully you remember that. So we're going to... My voice went funny there. We're going to crack on as soon as we allow the players an opportunity for them to say who they are and which favourite character that could end tonight they are playing. And we'll go straight across to Mr. Bartleby. Go for it.
I am Mr. Pickles, and I play Mr. Bartleby Fumus, our team's theist. He serves the light moon goddess Amriel. He's able to work a lot of classic theist miracles through her, able to heal people's injuries, bring them back from the brink of disease, get poison out of systems. He's able to lay spirits to rest. He has a lot of miracles and prayers that he can work that help people to reduce their fatigue or keep going in the face of adversity. He can give strength from his goddess. He can give calmness, all sorts of good things. But beyond that, he is the historian of the group as well, knows a lot about the land we're in, things that have happened, knows a lot about the monsters, at least in stories, mostly in stories of this area. He's generally our person who will make big speeches. But he's definitely not our team's fighter to any degree. He's very underwhelming in combat, dealing negative damage sometimes. And with that, I'd like to point over to somebody who can do a lot more damage, Mr. Longshank CPG.
That's just in my good days. No, hi guys, I'm Longshank CPG, and tonight, as always, I'm playing the stalwart character Hengist. He's a noble that hails from across the sea in a faraway land, and he's been in Lindo and Odist for a very long time now. So much so, he's come to the eye and attention of a noble house in Lindo, and he's now a nobleman in making in Lindo, when not adventuring and slaying lots of incredible beasties such as minotaurs or minotaur lookalikes. I was about to say the Gruffalo, but it's not the Gruffalo, it's the Zuktuk. And lots of other horrible barbarians and lizard creatures and goblins such as forest goblins, water goblins, mountain goblins, cave goblins, library goblins, centipedes, baboons, all sorts of horrible creatures, and people as well. And he does so with his trusty hand and a half sword, or two-handed sword. He uses it two-handed in his plate mail. Doing rather well for himself. And with that, I will pass it on to Medivac.
Thank you very much. I am Medivac. I play Hasra Khan. He hails from Odus, the northern steppes of Odus, to be precise. He's part of a wandering clan that wanders the northern lands, never been found. No, just he lost them at some point and moved while helping individuals on his way to Lindo, and then he fell in with this lovely group here. He is the group's go-to tracker, forager, hunter, stealth person. He loves the outside and the wilderness. He is uncomfortable in cities, but he does. He puts that aside for his friends. He is helping Basil, the owner of the Hairy Hobgoblin, by providing him with meat to eat. So he provides him with all these game that he can get, and Basil does wonderful things with it, kind of. He uses a short spear. He likes his soft quilted armor, which is basically a padded jumpsuit, a onesie. And yeah, with that, I shall pass on to Captain Kangaroo.
Hey everyone, I'm Captain Kangaroo. Tonight I'll be playing Cyrus alias. He is the group's shit storer slash problem maker slash probably plan ruiner. He's a sorcerer of the Order of the Phoenix, so he's a very aggressive, arrogant magic user, but at the same time, so different from Mr. Pickles, but at the same time he can handle himself somewhat in combat as well, depending on how well people receive or how well people understand his height problem. He can still do damage, but we tonight we'll see if Cyrus is able to actually fix an issue, or maybe even, I don't know what he's trying to do, but we'll figure it out tonight, to kind of like, I don't know, figure out how to help the party with some sailors he met in the past. From there, I'm going to pass the mic on to our GM in Wills.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, the chat is just saying that the chat is now on the stream. Because I thought it would be really nice since it's recorded, so when it goes onto YouTube, they can actually see the chat at the bottom as well, because sometimes there's some nice interaction as we go along. So I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time on this point, because you probably are very aware what's happened up to this point. Basically, the Hairy Hobgoblin was running out of business, etc., because of the sniffling ball that opened across the way. The party, especially Mr. Bartleby, was sure that Sniffer was behind it. However, when they eventually met the owner is not Sniffer at all. It is a very handsome, charismatic man called Christoph. Interestingly enough, Bartleby went to try to save the life of Harmony Lee, who is currently in charge of House Galot. That Hengist belongs to that house. And Harmony Lee was on death's door, about to die, and a priest was called. Bartleby is not actually a priest. He's an acolyte.
I'm a theist of the Church of Amriel.
But your rank is a...
I am an initiate.
Initiate, yeah. Well, that's even below an acolyte.
I'm working on graduating, but I didn't grow up in the church like a lot of the other people.
That is...
Mr. Bartleby's report card just says, Mr. Bartleby must try harder.
Yeah, must try hard. Anyway, a priest came along.
Floor washer.
But... Unbelievably, the next evening, Harmony Lee looked radiant. She didn't look dying at all. She was completely fit and well. And even Hengist, who sees her on a regular basis, but not like that, actually thought that she looked even younger. At this point, things all went in a different direction. Hasra is trying to work out where the sniffling boar gets all their good products from, where that happens, and the party are aware of a sewer connection, that a series of tunnels that run underneath Lindo, which is the capital city. And it just so happened at the end of last adventure that Hengist and Bartleby got invited for an evening meal with Christoph and Harmony Lee, and they went over there. Christoph was so polite, it was unbelievable. And he actually proposed to both Mr. Bartleby and Mr. Hengist that the future of the Hairy Hobgoblin would be saved because he would be willing to direct his lower class clientele across or back to the Hairy Hobgoblin. They were both with that, they had that information, but at the same time, Cyrus was down at the pier trying to find his old friends, the sailors that he had built up a rapport with in a previous adventure. And Hasra was staking out the sewer entrance, waiting to see if anybody comes along. He had rolled his stealth roll, which was 35 out of, it was a 35, his skill's 80, and he succeeded in a standard roll. So he is stealthed. He is hidden. A higher roll would have been better. I mean, a 79 or an 80 would have been perfect, but he is hidden. And we're going to dive across to him straight away and what's actually happening. So I'm just going to move us across so you can see the map. And if you remember, we are actually this red stuff down there, that's where the Sea Devils were. This is the entrance to the sewers just here. And Hasra, whereabouts do you want to be? Do you want to be on the left, on the right, above it? Do you have any preference where you would like to be stealthed?
No, I was going to go maximum foliage. So it's quite bushy and things around there, if memory serves me.
Yeah.
But I want to be able to get a good bird's eye view, so higher up, but with easy access to get down if need be.
Okay, I think that is totally possible. We'll just pop you on there. You're snapping to the grid, which is fine. Okay, so you're quite well hidden, and it's night, of course, and there's no, as the slums have no light shining anywhere, you're quite happily hunkered down in some foliage, some undergrowth, maybe some sparse shrubs or things like that. And luck is on your side because the moon, Amriel, is shining brightly tonight, but you're quite in the recesses and hidden very well, but you can see what's around you. And Amriel's light is just like bathing the situation. So first up, can you please make for me a perception roll? And it's just going to be standard. You don't, because of Amriel shining down. It's almost, this might.
Did we swap dice, Medivac?
I know what's going on. Mesa, please, I use a point of luck because that's never happened before.
No, I was going to say a 92 perception. And yeah, so remember your luck rolls. Ouch. Your luck will be up to maximum. So yeah, you can quite easily use it.
I'm going to re-roll purely because I want to see if we can get.
You want to get.
Oh, well, I did.
That got worse, but it's not.
No. Is that really what happened?
Oh. So we can see how the dice rolls are going to go this evening. Yeah. So, okay then. So you're in the undergrowth and keeping an eye out, and you actually hear something before you see something. And you hear the conversation of two male voices coming closer and closer to the entrance. They're actually coming down on a level to the entrance, so you're higher above, looking down at them. And they don't seem to be hiding themselves at all. They seem to have nothing with them. You can see by Amriel's glow that they are armed. They seem to have some kind of clubs. They might have the odd rusty nail sticking out them, but they don't look to be like mercenaries or professionals. And you can hear them coming down because of the conversation that they're having. And they are very disgruntled. And you gain from the conversation... Well, the conversation is something like, well, I don't see why we had to come down here. You know, everybody else is having a fun time and we have to go and stand at the entrance of a sewer. Look, it's not our fault. We just do what we're told. When they say go and stand at a entrance to a sewer, that means we come and stand at the area entrance of a sewer. But why are we here? Why are we actually down here? Look, we were just told you were there. He just said, go and check it out. Is he expecting something? There's not one of those large alligators again down here, is that you know, bit off Timmy's leg. Well, I haven't got any idea, but I tell you what, we ain't going in the sewer. You know, I've got to meet Mabel tonight, and I don't want to be stinking out the place of sewer dung, etc. Ooh, you got a date with Mabel, have you? Well, more than a date, I think. And they seem to walk up, and they're definitely not professional, Hasra. And you can see them. They're rather unkempt. Their clubs are actually in their hands, i.e. just sort of like down to one side. They don't seem to be sheathed or anything like that. And they just sort of like come up to the entrance, and you're above them looking down, and they're just sort of like talking away, and they're talking about the wonders of Mabel and how a bit chilly it is at the moment, and how long do they have to wait here, etc. So what would you like to do?
I was just going to basically just stay and watch and listen, because they're making they've already said they don't know why they're there, so there's no point in him attacking them and trying to interrogate them. So he's just going to observe and just stay exactly where he is stealthily and just try to remember everything they say.
Excellent. So make for me an insight roll, because you might be able to pick up certain words or certain phrases that they're using that might give you some clues to why they might be there.
Did you say insight? So you broke
Yeah,
a little bit there.
insight, yeah. Your internet connection is unstable, it's just said.
Oh, bless. Oh, please help me with internet connection.
Oh no.
Daisies.
Okay, so this is what you hear.
What the hell?
I tell you what, I'm going to use my last point of luck. Okay? I'm going to start as I mean to go on. Gung-ho.
We're like 20 minutes in, Hasra.
I'm going to re-roll this. Let the god of Amriel save me.
God.
Oh, so close, so close.
So far.
Yeah, so they seem to be muttering away, and you can't sort of like figure. All you've got is what they've already said, that you've already heard. That there's some really important pronouns that came across, that they sent them here, and he said this, and it's almost, you get the feeling that they've almost been sent here to expect something. But you probably don't think they've got a brain cell. Well, they're probably sharing the same brain cell at the moment, and just sort of like passing it backwards and forwards if and when.
Unfortunately, it's been loaned out to their triplet.
Yeah. And it's you can see they're so unprofessional. I mean, they're actually stamping their feet to keep their feet warm at the moment. I mean, it's quite unusual what they're doing, but they seem to be standing there. You're quite well hidden. Their perception rolls haven't noticed you at all, so that probably gives you some indication about how observant they are. And yeah, and so we'll leave you there for a while, and we'll nip across to Cyrus, who has... You went down to meet the sailors, didn't you, that you've met before?
Yeah, just kind of get some, not only to drink with them and all that, but also to maybe find out some things that we didn't know about our new bar owner.
Yeah, and yeah, I think initially it was to see, when he had arrived, or what people knew of him and things like that. And you're
shipment details.
Yeah, and you're lucky because the ship is in, and with some, not interrogation, but with some careful questioning, you get directed to a rather... It's not a low-end tavern, but it's not high-end, okay? It's actually called the Barnacle Knee. Don't ask why. And you go in and it's really dark in there, really dingy. You don't think the floor's been swept for several years. And you soon catch the eye of the sailors and the captain, and they sort of like signal to you, and you sit down and you exchange formalities about how everybody is, and the captain insists on buying the first round for you, and they bring out a picture of ale that is sort of like shared among you, and they toast your health and their health and safety on the high seas, etc., etc. Yeah, and conversations just milling around. So yeah, what question? How would you like to direct it?
So the direction, I think I'd probably go towards what have you heard new about this owner, and how is he able to get massive shipments of such fine, fine things of drink, and also fine foods. Like, how is he getting through the sewer? What have they heard?
Yeah, and they sort of like think for a while, and one of the deck men, one of the sailors, not the captain, sort of, as they tried to sort of like think about it, and you mentioned the sniffling ball, that there might have been there, perhaps, so and so, and what one of the sailors says, they're all thinking and passing comments between each other. Was that the one with so and so in it? No, she was in so and so. And then one of the sailors says, "Oh, we met your brother the other day."
My brother?
Yeah. We were lucky. He has a bit of a temper, doesn't he?
I don't think my brother's in town.
Oh no, we didn't meet him in town. He was out on the sea. We were, the captain sort of like takes up the conversation. He says, "Well, I hardly think it was a meeting. We were lucky. We were very lucky to escape with everything intact, I think."
Well, hold on. You met? How do you know he was? First of all, how do you know he was my brother?
Well, he looks like you. Well, actually, he doesn't look completely like you because he's 6'2", but he he has your hair, he has your outfit, and he even carries that. Well, his is a lot bigger than yours, but that big weapon that you normally whip out now and again. He has one of those as well.
And you just happen to see him out in the middle of the sea.
Well, he was on a ship. Obviously, he wasn't walking on water or anything like that.
No, he would definitely be sinking. Well, that's great. How did that turn out for you?
Not good. Not good.
Yeah.
1 minute he stood there, and the ship is rapidly approaching us and getting closer and closer. We had full sails up, everything was up, and we were going along quite happily. And then all of a sudden, without any warning, we see the ship getting closer and closer and closer, and your brother was up on the deck, right on the front of the ship. We call that the prow, up at the top, and there was somebody stood with him. Somebody who looked not like you at all. Well, it didn't look like anything like you at all, because it was a woman. And so that we knew.
I'm happy that you feel that.
She was almost like dressed in black, and she had this long hair that was sort of like whipping out behind her, like some demonic mermaid it was. And she was just sort of like stood behind him, and they were getting closer and closer. But, and the captain pipes up, we had the speed. He says, my ship after you and that kind cleric guy mended it for us. We were gaining. They were trying to get closer and closer. And then you won't believe what happened. You really will not believe what happened.
He gave up and decided, hey, I'm going to continue being a douche and go elsewhere.
No, not at all. Would you believe our Tillerman, the person who steers the ship, with a big wheel that goes round. I'm not too sure. Do you know the technical terms? Well, your boating skill.
No. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to. Oh, shoot, hold on. My character sheet is not up. Please hold.
Yes, we are.
Everyone get on the edge of their seat. That's the core. I know. It is a standard scale. Wow.
Yeah, okay. It's a standard scale. Yeah, you suddenly think, that is the front end, but you're not fair. Anyway, and you won't believe what happened. Our tillersman, our oarsman, the steerer of the ship, you won't believe what he did. He turned us around. He did. He actually turned us around. And I looked to him and said, Mac, what the... And do you know, he had a strange look in his eye. A strange look in his eye. As if, it wasn't... As if he was somehow possessed by a demon. His eyes glowed red. And he was turning us around towards this other ship. I said, Mac, what are they? And we suddenly thought that we had to do something. And he was holding the oar really tight. And this guy, your brother, on the other ship, he was there, but this woman was holding on to him as if he was going to fall off or something. And boy, she had a grip. I tell you, he was flailing around like anything, but he was going nowhere underneath this woman's grip. And, I could see the veins popping out on her biceps, I tell you. He was going nowhere. And we said, Mac, and we launched ourselves at Mac. And we managed to throw him down away from the wheel. And luckily, Pete here took over. We managed to escape. But, we don't think much to your brother. We did shout out. We know your brother, Cyrus, from Lindo.
And he probably loved that.
He didn't say anything. I think he made a strange gesture, maybe.
So, the moral of the story is that you saw someone at the end of a ship.
At the front of the ship.
Somewhat like me. Front of the ship. It looked somewhat like me, and then nothing happened.
Do you want to know something? When we were far away, we thought it was you. But as it came closer and it became bigger, we thought, nah, it's not him. Definitely not him at all.
Just a lot less attractive.
No, he was a lot taller. He was like 6'2".
Yeah, he got one thing good. For
you can't. Dad. Can you steer a ship by any chance?
Me? No, why would I ever go on a ship?
Oh no, it's just that there's
have
a
legs.
position open at our ship, and we just wondered whether or not you
Oh,
would.
and you think you could afford this?
Oh, how much?
I don't know. I haven't put it together. I'm assuming at least a lot more drinks than what you're giving me
What
so far,
one
guys.
of
Come
them
on.
says, "Do you come a reduced weight, reduced rate?" And so I slaps you on the back. And the captain says, "Don't worry, Mr. Cyrus. Sailor banter, sailor banter. That's what you mean." And they have
No,
they have a good laugh at everything about you. Yeah.
and then we'll continue drinking
And then the conversation
yeah,
gets
nice.
back round to the sniffling boar, and they start to talk about it. And it's really interesting because there seems to be no one knows about Christoph at all. As a matter of fact, a lot of people down here, and as you go through the evening, your natural charisma and presence in the room, stood on a stool, attracts a bigger group of people, and they sort of like come round, and and everybody starts to comment that a lot of them have been to the Sniffling Boar, although they think it's a rather upper class area and an upper class place that they think is not really for the likes of them. Some people did mention that the Hairy Hobgoblin was a lot better, and at this point you sort of like query, so why did you change? And it's at that point that you notice something, and they look puzzled, as if they're thinking, and then it's as if they're trying to reach inside their cavernous brains to try to locate the reason why they left somewhere that they really liked to go to a place that they had to stand in a queue to get in. Well, obviously Hengist's social class got preferential treatment to them, but at the moment when they start to think about it, they then give up and have a drink or something. And you really get this feeling that everybody seems to know of Christoph, but nobody remembers him arriving. They didn't come on any of these ships that they sail, which they are regular sea-going vessels to Lindo, and nobody seems to have any idea. Nobody's selling him food. Nobody's trading with him. It seems very, very peculiar. Is there anything that you would like to ask or say or do while you're in this situation?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of, because from what they're telling me, no one here actually does business with him. No one's supplying any of the wares of Christoph's place.
Correct.
And so it, which is weird. You expect if there's even you don't have one supplier, in most cases you would have many, and no one seems to be actually doing business with them.
Yeah.
And he seems to have a lot of access to all of it.
And also this fact that if you try to press for more information or a deeper understanding, then all the time the sailors stop, they ponder for a while, and then change the subject.
Yeah.
As if something's completely not the case. Hasra, let's zip.
Yeah, where it's like deflected against it.
Yeah. Hasra, you're still in your bushes, looking down at these two inept guards, and they just seem to be trying to keep warm, etc., etc. And you listen to their banter as they go on and on and on. And just make for me a perception roll. This is the time to really redeem yourself, Hasra.
Here we go.
Oh, well, we're getting there. We're getting slowly but surely. And at this point, you hear, and you definitely hear before you see, some more people approaching. And there's a company of 3 men coming down this pathway here from the slums down towards the 2 guards. And these seem to be a little bit more professional. They seem to be well attired to start off with. You can tell from the way that they walk, then you think they're probably armored, probably something like soft leather or something like that. They're not in plate or anything like that, but they do have a certain walk about them, a certain presence about them. They seem a lot more aware than what these others have been in the past. And the other thing that you notice is that they are definitely armed with swords. They are actually sheathed, and you notice also that they're wearing gloves, leather gloves, and they're sort of like walking down, and you can see from your vantage point that they're very observant and looking away and scanning profusely. And this almost like worries you initially because, you know, there's the light of the moon, etc., but you can't see this because I secretly rolled it, but the stream can. I rolled to see whether or not they could see you, and they rolled a 98. So you you are actually you are yeah, you are one with the bush. And they come down, and they the first thing that they do is that they reprimand the group, the 2, and there seems to be one person really telling them off for their sloppiness there, and he says he has no idea why they would be employed or to do this, that, and the other. And you certainly get the feeling from their interaction that there's 2 distinct groups of people here. The people who are armored with their swords obviously hold some kind of rank over the other 2, and they're constantly putting them down, saying how pathetic they are. But the other thing that you notice is that they say things like, I don't know why we have to work with you, this, that, and the other. Almost like there's 2 groups of people coming together. Now, there is a really important piece of information that you can get, but it will require an insight roll, I'm afraid.
Here we go. This is the most important.
But hang on, before you roll it, I'm in a good mood. Okay? And because you're hidden, I'm going to allow you to augment your insight roll with your perception roll. Because I'm in a good mood, but that's the only reason.
Oh my life. So augmenting it with a 92 skill.
And Will is just giving us all these chances.
I know. So
19.
So let's put on to my insight. It's going to make no difference, by the way.
You never know.
Thank you anyway. Thank you. So it's 39. Get in there. Points.
Thank you very much, In Wills, for my free experience point.
No, so that's what I'm thinking. Oh, let me
All that build up.
Tick that box.
It's a nice even 40 now, mate.
Yay! No, it'll be 21 actually, but anyway.
Oh, yeah, because he's added 19 on to it. 21.
Oh, gosh, sorry.
Yeah, well...
You gave me everything you possibly could. You wrapped it in a little bow.
I did.
Ready back. Luck point. Oh, wait.
Oh,
Sorry.
wait, yeah. No, you got the last insight wrong.
That is quite yeah.
City folk are mighty strange.
Yeah,
That's what I'm thinking.
but you definitely get the feeling that there's two groups of two bosses here, and they sort of like the three of them, the three armored ones, really
Sorry,
are
just
not.
one second.
Are not
I thought Captain Kangaroo was levitating by just going like this because the dog's like just hovering.
Yeah, I'm just impressed that he's changed his cat into a dog. A bit of shape changing. Yeah, can you do the same trick, Mr. Pickles? Can you change your...
No, I don't have those spells.
I know
Really lacking on the spells there.
I know Hengist isn't feeling very well, and all I can see is the top of his head, and I thought, oh, he's just slumped down.
It's a bit of that, and also the
Just
letdown
passed
from
down
our
his desk.
perception.
Can I just say that I'm trying my hardest here to get...
But you know what? At the end of the day, I got a point out of it.
Yeah, I should have said, roll your insight and have plus 100. And then, and even if I said that, a roll of 99 and 100 still fails anyway. So,
Yeah. The audience to say, here, have a free go.
And
Fucked up.
the interesting thing is that they seem to wait there, and the armored people really sort of like are not very nice to these other two people at all. And it goes on and on and on. And then the armored people sort of like say, right, you better get back then. Obviously, nothing's happening here. And they sort of like say, well, okay, do we have to go right back? No, just go home. Just go home. And you remember that we're going to be telling how pathetic and how useless you two were. I would be really surprised if you had got any payment this week. Oh, well, I hope so. You know, I've got... Me rent's due on me hole today. Well, you won't be living in a hole anymore, I tell you, after we've had... Just go away with you street rats. And they sort of like grumble and go off. And the armoured people sort of like stay there for a period of time. And so Bunnybox has just donated 100 bits. 100 bits, which does mean that she's going to make it easier for you, Medivac, and for Hasra.
Oh, thank you, Bunnybox.
Which means I'm going to be super nice, and I'm going to allow that to succeed in your insight roll if you would like it to.
Oh, yes, please.
Okay, then.
Thank you, Bunnybox. You are the best. You're the best. You're the greatest.
Okay, and you can keep your 1 point improve.
Oh, thank you.
So that's...
You're the best.
Thank you. Okay, then, so this is the important piece of information that the audience has decided to give you. The street people, the two ruffians, mention Sniffer a lot. The armoured people don't mention Sniffer at all. They mention Christoph.
Christoph, yeah.
Don't say that. Don't say as if you knew that, Hasra, because Bunnybox would be taking a bit he's back.
Oh, he didn't know nothing.
And it's definitely... There's one other piece of information that you would have got. They start to... Through the conversation, they say things like, we were told he would be here. He would be waiting. And you get the very, very strong impression that somebody told where you would be and what you were doing. And it's probably just your wonderful stealth and their poor perception rolls that has actually kept you safe this night. But they definitely were there to find you.
I can hear a water goblin at the moment in the distance going...
Yeah. Yeah. and you know they were definitely sent to get you.
Oh my life. Right.
Okay, so
Buddy Box, you are still the best.
yeah, and thank you, Buddy Box. So that's what you find out, and after a while you can head back. Whereabouts would you like to head back to, Hasra?
I would head back to the Hairy Hobgoblin. I'd like to go home, but I need to report this in first. And I think that's the main focal point where we would all meet up anyway.
Okay, so you will go back to the Hairy
Hairy
Hobgoblin.
Hobgoblin and see Basil.
Yeah, and I think, Cyrus, is there anything else that you would like to do while you're down at... You know, this is really confusing now, because I have two maps. One for the Sniffling Boar and one for the Hairy Hobgoblin. And of course, they're just reflected. Yeah. So I have to remember to get one of them in. So, yeah, are you coming... Is there anything you want to do beforehand? And is Cyrus coming back to the Hairy Hobgoblin as well?
He would, obviously, he'd be a little pre-gamed.
Oh, yeah, just roll your willpower for me. Let's see.
Ooh.
Let's see how well you cope with all the alcohol.
Definitely not well, I assume. Hold on.
You might be able to resist. You're normally quite good at resisting. Because this comes up 100 now, Elders.
Actually, yeah, willpower's not too bad. What?
Shut the front door! Oh, God.
You just said those words.
He's done it before.
You
He's a
said
wizard.
those words.
He's a wizard.
This isn't the first
And then
time
1
it's
second
happened.
later.
It's the macro that he's built into roll 20. He
Oh
just
my
hits
God.
it, and it overrides whatever you're going to roll.
Yeah, it's just, oh.
You're gonna be burned at the stake in those. Like, this is...
Bunny Buck says, what the heck is going on tonight?
He's worked out a macro to get all your bits.
Yeah. Wow.
Can someone
Oh my God.
screenshot this? 100 and 100.
Just to let you know, I've just put
Donations.
a marker on it, so when I can go back, I can clip it.
Oh my God.
Because that is as just be careful what I wish for. Yeah, that dude. Right, okay then.
Jesus.
Um,
I'm sloshed, apparently.
yeah, Hengist and Hengist, Hasra and Bartleby, you arrive back in the Hairy Hobgoblin, and as Cyrus rolls in, just roll for me your endurance check. This is going to be a Herculean approach to it.
Ooh.
Because you fumbled. So it would have been hard and formidable, and then you sort of like stagger in. Luckily you are holding your alcohol in your belly at the moment, so you're not it's not gushing forth from you at this point, but every now and again when you talk you go and sort of like a bit of wind pops up, and the smell of cheap ale wafts across the table. Hasra, if you wanted to move, you're quite welcome, because you're sat opposite Hasra Cyrus at the moment.
Hasra's seen this sort of thing before with the warriors, so he's going to move over here.
And Bartleby,
He's in the vomit pile.
Bartleby, you're right next door to him, and you can sort of like smell. You can not only smell the alcohol, but there's definitely a smell of stale sweat and sailor's armpits there. And he looks a little bit... Oh, thank you, Buddy Box. Buddy Box has clipped it. Brilliant.
Perfect.
And really sort of like stale sweat and everything. And Cyrus looks a little bit dishevelled as well. You know, his lovely hair is a bit matted and to one side, and he looks like he spilt something down his red robe as he comes staggering in. And Bartleby, if you wish to move, you're quite welcome to.
No, it's best that I stay here within arm's reach if he slips and falls. I need to be able to fix his neck if he breaks it.
Okay then, yeah.
I was looked at Cyrus and imagining him becoming one of these a human fountain that you guys have in the cities.
Yeah.
Just like,
From this point on, Cyrus, you need to have slurred speech.
Got it.
You were talking about your prowess with your acting skills, so.
So you all know this is exactly what I've been able to figure out. My brother's still a douche. And hold on.
There's more.
Turns out if you buy a round for sailors, they will also buy a round for you, and it's just another ending cycle of constantly drinking too much. But that's all I found out today, though.
Well, that's perfectly fine because
How are you guys doing?
Hengist and I have gotten some very, very warming information.
Indeed.
I don't think this Kristoff is really the threat that we thought he was.
He's an absolute stand-up guy. Is that Christoph? He's even volunteered to help Basil.
Yes, we got an agreement going that it's going to be win-win. Since he never really committed any crimes by just being a business person, I feel it'd be bad of us to continue biting.
I do not mean to burst your bubble of joy that you have, but I went down to the sewers and I waited where we thought there may be a supply coming through to supply the dwelling across the road. And while I was there, I observed two ruffians come across, and they were talking, and they had these clubs with nails in, and they were muttering about. They were they had sent them there, and he said that they should stay here and wait, and they mentioned Mythras quite a lot. And then I thought it's very strange. I thought I would wait just to see if they would say any more. And as I waited, these three more people came, but these were more professional people. These were they were dressed almost like Hengist would dress if he was wearing no metal. You know, they had leather armor and they had sword sheath, and they were very wary, and they were looking at where they were going. He did not like these first two people when they got there. They berated them and told them they were no good for the job. But the funny thing is, they worked for Christoph, from what I got out of this. Now, the reason why they were there, the conversation seemed to be somebody knew I would be there tonight, and they were waiting for me. If it wasn't
Hasra.
for the...
Hasra,
Yes, Cyrus.
you have a funny accent.
Well, it's funny to you maybe, but you come to where I was born, and maybe people think you have a funny accent, but
You have a funny accent, buddy.
Yeah.
That's I forgot about that with you, but you have a funny accent.
it's not funny. It's just me.
Oh,
Or
you,
maybe I would be oratory skills like you do.
you notice
Hey,
that.
Bartleby, are you going to finish that drink?
But there's actually
The one I'm holding?
yeah.
Yes, are you going to finish that?
Yeah, I was thinking about it.
Basil appears at the
okay.
table.
All right.
He says, thank you so much for coming back late at night. I have managed to heat up some of the old stew, and somebody's just left the chat."
Longshanks has disappeared.
Fear not. I'm just switching us to Zoom mode, so we're all still on it. We just lost the background, and that's all. But I was prepared. Oh, Longshanks is back again, so we can go back. Oh, and now everybody's in a different position.
Who am I?
Mission
Who am I right now?
accomplished.
Musical chairs.
Sorry about that.
No, it's not a problem at all. So you've all, so Medivac, you are now Bartleby. Bartleby is Hengist.
Well, thank you.
Longshanks is Cyrus, and Captain, you're
Oh, sorry,
Hasra.
what?
So I'll just sort of like quietly move you all back to where you should be. But Basil appears at the table, and he sort of like has heard you mentioning something about it's all sorted, etc., etc., and he's really excited about that. But he's brought some leftover stew from the previous night. And he says, don't worry, he says that white stuff on the top is just a bit of fat. If you hold it for a bit, it'll soon melt. But he says there's quite a bit of gristle in there. And I think there was the odd... there was something floating in it, but I'm sure it was absolutely fine. Here, Cyrus. And he pushes this bowl of what Cyrus probably just sees as greasy slop, and you need to make a formidable endurance roll for me, please.
So I make my own slap. All right. Formidable what?
Endurance.
Oh, great. This is gonna be good news, everybody.
If it's another 100, I'm not pushing my luck anymore. Oh, so close.
How's it going?
So close. Where do you want it? On the table or the floor? I'll give you that choice.
Table.
And Basil sort of like
bowl.
pushes this in front. And Hasra, you're quite pleased that you moved.
Yes.
Because Cyrus, you see this slop in front of you, and you just think that's it. And Bartleby, you managed to Bartleby, just roll your evade roll for me, please. And Hengist, you can as well.
This is the risk I knew I was.
Hengist, you almost
Hengist is feeling very smug.
Yeah, you actually see
it happening.
you actually see the part and manage to just move slightly to one side. And Cyrus, you empty the contents of your stomach, which is mainly alcohol, nothing else, over the table into the slop. You get splattered, Bartleby, not a huge amount, but you do get splattered. Hasra, you're fine. And Basil sort of like looks rather forlorn. And he looks at you, Bartleby. He says, I don't think it was that bad.
Oh, no. He's just celebrating the good news that we have. And he started celebrating before we got here for some reason.
And then he says, do you think he still wants it? Or shall I take it away?
No, it'll probably be good to fill him back up.
Yeah. Okay. He says, if he needs a spoon or anything, he says, just give me a shout. I can give him a suitable instrument. He says, don't worry about the mess. He says, somebody will clear it up. I've had worse. And he sort of like hobbles off, and he sort of like says, right. He says, I'm going to close up now and off to bed. He actually sleeps in the cellar, if you remember, Longshanks. He does.
He does. He's got a very nice room down there.
Yeah.
Oh, where is he?
And he sort of like, he says, just close the door on the way out. He says, nobody's coming in here as well. But good news, I hear that people are going to be coming back, which sounds like a brilliant news. And he sort of like heads off. Bartleby and Hengist, I would like you, please, because you feel compelled to do so, is to share with Cyrus and Hasra the information that I passed to you in Discord. And you don't have an option for this. You are compelled, and I use that word. You just feel it'll be a really, really good idea to.
Oh yeah, that was the intention. Because Bartleby's excited and just notes even if Kristoff's employees are working with some of Sniffer's employees. That's an inevitability in the business. I mean, he is a noble after all. He's got very distinguished lineage. There's really no denying that he's as a part of Lindo as we are.
I mean, we've been through a lot together, Hasra. So I hear what you're saying, but I just don't believe that Christoph. He's just such a nice guy. I mean, he's going to be the new head of House Galot, so he's he can't be mixed up with Sniffer at all, because House Galot wouldn't do that. They're all for the poor and helping out the city, not skimming off the top.
Hasra's got a stutter now.
I'm a little bit shocked how.
Yes, you are. Everybody's lost their senses.
And I mean, we had a really good discussion, Christoph, Bartleby, and myself, and we all agreed, and Lady Harmony, we all agreed he'd be the best thing for House Galot and the future of House Galot.
But it's not a crime to make a business.
No, he's running a very successful tavern. He's helping Basil out. He's shipping the lower classes from the sniffing boar to the hairy hobgoblins. So he's a stand-up chap.
The economics of this town do not really. I mean, I'm here to help Basil, and that would be very good. But this Christoph just comes from. Have you heard of Christoph before? Where did he come from?
Oh, well, that's very simple. He's
been around for ages, hasn't he?
Well, I think you were the one looking at the papers while I was getting the prune jelly on those beautiful rolls.
Oh yeah, the ham was on the cheese.
House Galot have some kind of.
Gulliver would have been salivating in the mouth for that cheese. Good cheese.
Cyrus is gonna look up. Cyrus is gonna look up from his drink. He's gonna look right at Bartleby and says, "A priest and a nobleman walk into a bar."
And then Cyrus
go back to his drink.
Cyrus laughs for a while, then just goes, yeah, and goes, "Ba-dum." And he just
Do I have to a willpower check
backwards off the chair?
he just sort of like slops down into to the pool of vomit, and his lovely red hair is just sort of like floating on top of it. It's going to take more than Head and Shoulders to get that out tomorrow. Yeah, I think Bartleby saw his credentials.
Well, they were passed in front of me at one point, and I didn't initially recognize any of the names. It wasn't House Galot or... Well, that's essentially the only name I have much experience with. But he did mention, because I asked him, why build here? If you want to make an upscale place, why not build up on the hill? And, the guy's just a down-to-earth businessman. No offense to you, Hengist, but some of your fellows up on the hill can be very difficult to be around, and he mirrored that sentiment of mine.
Some of them can be quite horsey. Definitely agree.
Yes. I have a feeling, actually, that he might even be calling on us to do some heroic paid work for the city of Lindo at some point. It's just a thought or suspicion, but just seemed like a man who needs boots on the street.
How does Hasra feel at the moment?
Again, he's my friends. I've never seen you two swayed by somebody this easily, this dramatically. It's like you have had a veil put over your faces, and all you could see is Christoph. Do you know what I mean? It's just like I know you both. And you, Mr. Bartleby, you are a man of the people. You truly are, and you would not, in your own consciousness, I don't think you would. Clearly you are, but you seem to be not following any any reasonable path. You're not. It's just one-sided. There is no. We came here to find out what was happening, why was Basil's business being taken out, and you've gone across to this other place, and now all you can say is Christoph this, Christoph that. That's not you. You never do that.
Speaking
You
of
have two sides.
Speaking of Christoph Bartleby, didn't he mention that he was going to come and see you some of your sermons?
Yes, indeed. Actually, I believe he said something of that.
I mean, if he goes to Bartleby's sermons, then he's got to be.
The key thing, though,
There has
Hasra,
to be like easier ways to fall asleep. I don't.
But the thing is, again, you, my friend, I'd like to think I know you, and you are a very big admirer of Harmony Lee. She is your leader, or whatever you call them here in the cities.
I thought you said Ida then, and I thought it was like a special term, and I was just about to Google it.
She's your leader, or whatever you call it, the cities. But now you are quite simply, without a blink of an eye, moving her aside for Christoph to step in. Why? Did you not try to protect her husband?
I did, but that didn't.
So should
go
you
to
not
plan.
feel more?
But it's
not-
Harmony's
did you not
choice.
go-
She's chosen Christoph.
But did you not go out of your way to take Bartleby to cure Harmony? I mean, you said she was on death's door. And
She
now
was,
she's prancing
and
around like
Amriel.
she's a gelding.
The priests of Amriel did.
A filly.
The priests of Amriel did just cause miracles to happen, and Harmony is perfectly fine, and she's chosen Christoph. She's marrying him, which makes him the head of the house, and it's the best thing for House Galart.
Which priests of Amriel cured her?
I think it was Father Elric.
And have you asked Father Elric how he did it? That you Bartleby, my friend,
How he did it?
you have saved me many times before, but you could not.
He is
He
a
did.
great priest, first
But what-
off, and I would love to be at his connective status with Amriel someday. But Hasra, here's the thing: I tried my hardest to find anything to
He
pin
did.
on.
He prayed
on
over-
Christoph. I just it dawned on me at a certain point when there's no evidence of any crime or any evil doing, and somebody's only doing good things. At a certain point, you have to give up the chase. If I would be happy if you had evidence to show
I
that
have
he was a
evidence. I've told
man.
you
We could
about
do something.
evidence. Sniffer and Christoph are working together. They tried to trap me tonight. I told you this. I was
but-
at the sewers and they were waiting for me. It's almost as if somebody told them I would be there. They clearly knew I would be there. So somebody who overheard that conversation or has magical means knew I would be there.
It's almost,
And they were
Hasra,
waiting.
as if somebody read somebody's mind.
Oh, it possibly could be, but I wouldn't know anything about that. But yes, it was too much of a coincidence that two groups working for both people were looking for me at the docks. But you said there's nothing wrong. Everything is what do you call it? Rosy. And it's really not.
I guess I could call it that.
Have you talked to your friend, your priest friend, to find out what was wrong with Hamney Lee?
I assumed that he well, I know that the higher priests are able to read the finer scriptures of Amriel, and I mean I haven't been able to read those yet, but I've seen references, so I assume he had some sort of calling that purified her soul, way beyond my means.
But why not ask if he knows what was wrong with her, to find out if he did, in fact.
Well, it's not a bad idea. I might try and catch him tomorrow morning if I can. I mean, he is a bit higher up, so I'm not sure he would see just a lower priest like myself. But
Oh, you're not a lower priest, Bartleby. You are an amazing man. You create many miracles, and you have such a large heart for the people, even the poor,
You
which is good.
as you're discussing around the table, a rather sleepy Basil appears at the counter and sort of like says, do you all wish to stay the night? There are rooms up above. I know some of you have used them already. He says, you're quite welcome to all stay and take your Mr. Cyrus up there as well. He says, it is getting rather late for a very rather loud discussion.
No, you are right, Basil. We are very sorry. Hengist, my friend, could you give me a hand lifting
the sick sodden, sodden siren. Well, it's just like lifting a tiny child. You both take an arm and there's sort of like you don't even need to drag him. It's quite easy to cart him upstairs.
I'm just going to throw him outside.
Oh, sorry.
No, let's take him upstairs to our room.
It's okay. It's okay, Hasra. We did get a little drunk in the end.
On the fine wine and cuisine.
No.
They got drunk of the loveliness of Christoph and Harmony Lee. They were soaked and bathed in it. Okay then, so Cyrus, you don't have a say in your current state whereabouts you're sleeping tonight. You are taken upstairs to your cot, the cot that had you tied to previously. And however, the rest of you...
Hengist, make sure he has a bucket.
Why does Hengist need a bucket?
No, Hengist, make sure that Cyrus has a bucket.
When you said Hengist make sure he has a bucket, I was thinking, what?
Sorry, yeah, in the context of the situation.
So there's a pail that Cyrus can have.
Good.
We don't particularly want him waking up through the night and rolling another 100 and choking on his own vomit, but there's a pail there. Where the rest of you going to stay the night? You're more than welcome, as Basil says, you're more than welcome to stay in the hairy hobgoblin. Cyrus is in his bed, probably snoring quite loudly at the moment. What about the rest of you?
Bartleby would be heading back to his church if he's going to catch the priest in the morning.
Hengist will head home, but he'll go home via dropping Bartleby off at church to make sure that he doesn't get mugged again.
To the church.
And Hengist turns to Hasra and says, if you decide not to stay here, there's a room at mine if you want to.
It is very,
Cyrus might keep you awake.
No, I'm very grateful.
He's prone to start singing in the middle of his drunken...
It'll be fine, but I do feel that I must stay here and keep watch over him, because otherwise we don't know what might happen. These people are looking for us, and they've already tried to catch me once. So I'm going to stay here with Cyrus to make sure nobody sneaks in through the night and ducks him or cuts his throat.
Poor Cyrus.
Or cleans his clothes.
Okay, so
I'm going to stay.
We're 4 minutes away from the break, so I just want to tell you what happens, and then we'll take our 10-minute break, so you can have a think about what is going on and where you would like to go. And the next morning, you, after feeling well slept and very, very sober, even you, Cyrus, you meet, not necessarily in the heavy hobgoblin, but walking down towards it, and you all sort of like meet each other, from different directions, and you are walking down. It's probably early morning, 8 or 9 o'clock, and you definitely get a feeling that something is not quite right as you approach the sniffling boar and the hairy hobgoblin, and as you walk down, you you suddenly get this feeling that you're being watched, or somebody, you all feel uneasy. And as you sort of like turn around the corner into the main street where the sniffling boar is closer to you on your right and the hairy hobgoblins further down on your left, you notice that the road, the street is quite empty, apart from one scene, which seems to be happening in the middle of the street, outside the sniffling boar before you get to the hairy hobgoblin. And there seems to be somebody crouched over something on the floor, and you're not too sure what's sort of like going, and you sort of like pause to try to get a look, and the hooded figure rises from the floor, and as it rises, it seems to be holding in its arms somebody, and as it sort of like turns round and it's got the arm holding in the arms, you recognize that it's Harmony Lee, stood, being draped over, but there's somebody that looks like that it's hovered over her, and the hooded figure brings up his face, and as he does this, you notice that blood drips from his mouth, and there's a distinct tearing sound as it pulls away from Harmony Lee's neck, gouging it out and almost like making her just sort of like go limp on in the person's arms, and the person just drops her without care or attention, and she just lands crumpled on the floor, one arm painfully broken underneath her, and the hooded figure comes up, and you can see blood is there, and quite deliberately the creature, or the human, lowers his cowl, his hood, and you can see the very pale-faced, red-eyed, fanged face of Christoph there, and with blood over, or not dripping down nicely, just all over his bottom chin, over his bottom lip, over his crisp white linen shirt. And he turns round to you all, and a smile crosses his face, and he just says, "Gentlemen, I have been waiting for you." And we will take our 10-minute break at that point. And when we return, just to let you know, the first thing that we will be doing is rolling some initiative. Okay then, so have a think what you would like to do. You got plenty of time. We are going to be away for 10 minutes. So it's 10:30 on the dot, so we'll be back 20 to the hour. Do come back. It's going to be probably a very exciting finale to the Mist and Shadows adventure, and I'm certainly looking forward to it. Just so you know, Cyrus, you do not feel hungover.
So, good.
So you got...
But it must be because I vomited all of
yeah.
what was going to keep me hungover.
Brilliant. Okay then. So we will see you in 10 minutes. Look after yourself and see you soon. And then let me just move on to the small screen, and then I just need to move you quickly around because you're all in the wrong positions. Put Hasra there.
The one time Hengist doesn't stop by to pick me up to go to the bar.
Yeah, then that's it. So we're back. You can see the situation now on the actual map here. So you guys, hopefully it's linked to your characters all the time. If you would like to rearrange how you were walking down the street, I'm more than happy for you to be either in a line or 2 and 2 or 3 and 1 or 1 and 3. It's completely up to you. Just don't come past. Can you see this line? Hang on, let me get on my clicker. Can you see this line, this horizontal line here?
Yeah.
Don't go beyond that door. Can you see there's a door here? So don't go behind that. But you can rearrange yourselves now as you see fit. Just to let you know, you probably Bartleby and Cyrus, you have probably had enough sleep to have magic points back. So you will have magic points back, but of course you won't have any luck points that you spent already. That will not be back at all. And yeah, so I'm just bringing out the combat order, and I should have probably let's just get rid of Zach. We don't need Zach, and we don't need that. Let's reduce it to 1 and 1. Like that. I'm going to delete you off the order, and then I'm going to allow you, before we roll an initiative, to prepare for action. So if you wanted to draw weapons or whatever like that, then you're more than welcome to do that before. You probably got, I can't imagine any of you as you see Harmony drop to the floor and Christoph with a bloody mouth standing. I can't imagine any of you would just sort of like stand there and carry on looking. I'm sure you would burst into some kind of action. Hasra, you do have your spear because as you mentioned before, it's what, it's part of you that you carry around. Hengist, you are armoured. You got your 2 1.5-handed sword. You don't have your shield out. Bartleby, you for some reason seem to have your club, and you and Cyrus, you do have your little glaive out as well. And so, what would you like to do to prepare before we roll initiative?
Before we start, can I just say something? So as soon as Hengist sees the person drop Harmony Lee and pulled back the hood, you just hear.
Ooh,
That's fun.
that's
Hengist, you just hear the throaty shit.
I didn't hear anything there, by the way. I did.
Throaty shit of Hengist's sword being, because he normally draws it really carefully.
Yeah.
This time you just hear a deliberate of the entire length of the blade being drawn from the metal rock, from the metal clip of the scabbard around the outside.
Cool.
Hasra was
And standing in a ready to fight pose.
Hasra was up early collecting some herbs and things and some herbs and meat for
Basil.
Basil, yeah, sorry. So what Hasra will do is put the garlic he's got just down on the floor.
and you probably sharpen some steaks while you're out there as well.
He killed some things earlier, he's made some steaks.
Yeah, it's just like, oh look, I just happened to, and I've got a crucifix. And Bartleby's got some flowing holy water to splash.
Yeah.
What's this in my pocket? Holy
Oh,
water.
I forgot to mention the sword that Hengist drew is the second sword that he carries, which is the silver one. from
Oh yeah,
Monsters.
the silver one that especially been blessed by High
Unreal.
Priest.
Oh, hang on. Is
The High
that
Priestess of
our
Emerald.
Mr. Van Helsing?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. You said this was like morning hours, right? Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
it's
daytime.
morning, it's dawned, it's a little overcast or
Yeah,
something.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
That's.
It's
I'm
that
feeling
moment
stupid
before
now
the
because I
sun
didn't pick
comes
up the
up.
vampire stuff until.
To be fair,
I thought we were in daylight, so it never crossed my mind.
But you've got to remember, Mr. Pickles, this is in Will's world.
Yes, no, and that's
different.
I
So
just
vampires can do whatever.
I heard garlic and I didn't think anything.
Hey, I'll just
I
go.
like how you-
Like,
Let
pretty
me just
stupid.
refresh. So it's early morning, but it's overcast. There's no sun out at the moment. It's
Depends on which version
You're
of
like
the Legends
20
of
minutes
Vampires you're
behind,
following,
Mr.
Mr.
Pickles.
Pickles. You are about 20 minutes behind.
do you remember that old film where the guy comes in and goes, hello?
okay. So Hengist has got his sword drawn. Hasra, I presume your spear is ready.
Yes, Hasra will be charging in as
Yeah.
soon as he sees
Yeah,
him drop the
same with
body.
Hengist.
Yeah.
It is ready to either chuck or charge, depending what you wish to do with it. Because
Depends how fast Angus is.
well, yes, he's normally quite
no, sorry.
leisurely.
Hengist runs always full pelt. It's just he's weighed down by.
Yeah, it's normally
Wow.
this initiative order. So don't forget to click on your tokens, please. Hopefully they're connected to your character sheet, and then let's have some initiative, shall we?
Hang on. Hang on. I need to make sure I've done something right. Something's changed my sheet. There we go. That's what's wrong.
Ooh, Hasra coming in with the big 16. Ooh, Hasra, you're
I
going.
rolled a 3.
Hasra, you're going to be up there and actually going first. Oh no, perhaps not.
No! 22, that's not good news. Alright.
That's even worse. It's Christoph with a K.
Oh,
And with a
he's gone down in my estimation.
and with a PH. And I don't
is a
like
P, yeah.
anybody who spells Christoph with an F to me all the time, Mr. Pickles.
that Christoph.
I put PH in mine, that's how I spell Stephen. And other words like that.
Okay, so you say his surname now as well, which you haven't heard before. So yeah, it's Christoph's time to go first, and he actually, while you were preparing, he actually dropped Harmony Lee. Thank you, Buddy Box. So they've just clipped you, Bartleby, not thinking that anything was going on. That definitely meet the highlights, don't worry. And yeah, and he's sort of like, he's honestly, he is so annoying. He sort of like sees you all sort of like weapons coming out left, right, and centre. And he seems to undo a clasp at the top of his cloak and sort of goes like this with his shoulders. And the cloak just sort of like filters down. And he seems to be carrying no weapons. And he takes his hands and goes like that. And you suddenly all notice that he's definitely got some kind of claw coming out of his fingers. Okay, it's not like Wolverine. It just looks like his fingernails are long and filed and nice. And yeah, that's his action on 22. So we are down to you will go next.
So he's gone full saber-tooth bag lady.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He's even got the odd cat. He's throwing a cat.
Yeah,
Was it Mr. Pickles' character who could juggle cats?
It
it
was.
was.
Cats and rats he
Oh.
juggled.
And children.
Oh, I forgot about the children.
Well, I tried. They
Yeah.
didn't die. They didn't die, and that's the key thing to take.
That is the key. Is Hasra chucking?
No, I'm not checking. I'm engaging, and I'm just trying to. Six. It was 6 seconds ago. That's fine. So I'm going to run. Which is going to be a bad move, but he's seen this happen, and as he goes, as he moves away from the group towards Christoph, he will mutter under his breath, "Oh no, he's your best friend, isn't he?" Now engage.
Yeah, and you'll be able to move and fight, so you'll be able to do an attack roll at the end. So you charge up to him, and you probably got your spear leveled, and you thrust it into him. Off you go.
With the thrust. Here we go. Oh, thank you, sir.
Oh, nice.
It's just a shame it's a Herculean roll, you know.
Very nice. So you rush up to him and you thrust your spear into him. Just to let you know, let me just check. Yeah, so I'll have -7 to my roll, won't I?
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, and he sort of like comes up to you, and you sort of like thrust your spear to him, and as you thrust your spear, he tries to get out the way, and you just clip the side of him as it sort of like goes in. It just says your internet connection has become unstable again. So you sort of like whoosh into him at full pelt. He tries to move out the way but doesn't make it, so you need to roll. You'll have a special hit location and a damage.
Certainly. I want to impale.
Yeah.
Hit location will be
a 3. That'll be a leg.
Is a right leg, yeah. Always a right leg. And damage is going to be...
So two damages, and we'll take the highest one because it's an impale. Yeah. Oh, 7's.
7
Your 9's better. Yeah, and you sort of like slam it in, and it sort of like catches on that nice bit below the rib cage, but above the pelvis in that soft bit, and you sort of like push it, and you actually see it come out the other side. You know, you sort of like go straight into him, and Christoph lets out this is not a speak action. He just lets out a cry as it goes into him. So that's Hasra done on 16. Cyrus, you're on 15.
I'm gonna start channeling Rack.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that takes. But it will be to my next turn until I'm able to.
Yeah, it'd be 2 because it'll be a normal one, and then you're going to have to shape it for the range. So that'll be 2. So you'll do it on your next turn. Yeah, so you'll start to spell cast. Bartleby, you're up next.
I'm next to Hengist, so I'm hoping I can reach out and cast a prayer on him.
Yeah, nice.
I'm going to say something like. Amriel, guide your blade, or something cliche like that, with a blade chart.
Nice, yeah. Yeah, folk magic comes off really nicely, and all of a sudden, Hengist, you feel the light of Amriel bathe your weapon. And
it just has an ominous blue sheen to the entire blade now.
It looks really nice. And it looks super. I'm just trying to find it. And you've got the blade sharp out. Yeah. And then Hengist, you're up.
Hengist is going to run at Christoph with his sword held in two-handed. And as soon as he gets within range, he's going to do a huge sweeping action.
Yeah.
To try and cut him in half.
Cool, yeah, do you to hit roll.
Render his head from his body, one of the two.
Oh. That's
but Hasra gets in the way. Hasra gets in the way, so he has to move the sword at the just at the last second, so he doesn't take the top of Hasra's head off from behind him. And yeah.
Yeah, and
he
you
just
sort of
misses.
like swing and miss Christoph. And we'll go straight into this. It's still combat round 1, but turn 2. So, Cyrus, your spell will come off at the end of when it's your turn. And sort of like Christoph, sort of like, if you remember, you sort of like jabbed him in the side and your blade still in, your spear still in there. And Christoph sort of like lets out this howl of pain, and then it slowly changes into a laugh as he moves his body, and it appears to become almost like mist-like around your where the spear entered him. And he just sort of like laughs and moves slightly. He's not evading or anything. He just sort of like turns, and you're sort of like holding onto your spear, Hasra, ready to yank it out of the next one. And you just see his body almost like turn into some kind of misty smoke. And he sort of like moves it out, and then you're just sort of like left there with your spear still in your hand, but not in him. Not at all. And then he does his attack, and he pushes his hand out at you, Hasra. Yeah, and he pushes out. He's going to make contact with you. So you can either evade out the way, and in which case you'll be out the way, but you'll be prone on the ground, or you can try to parry with your weapon. He's just got a standard roll, so.
To be honest, I'm not sure if Hasra would, because he's just seen this strange thing happen. He'd be completely off balance with his spear in his hand, and that lack of give when the spear's going to become loose will make him just stagger back and throw him completely off. So I'm going to have to take this.
Okay, so he sort of like pushes his claws into you, and he's going to use impale as well, but they're just little minor claws. So he will do his first roll will be his to hit roll, just so you know. So this is coming into your 4, which seems a bit strange, but never mind. Yeah, and he will do some. So let's see which one he wishes to do damage on. He'll take the 13.
Oh my life.
As his claw, he sort of like pulls out and sort of like looks at you, and you look sort of like stunned, and he sort of like drops down to one knee and just sort of like almost like identifying the weak area of a fighter's body, rather assuming that your head and torso is going to be protected, and he just whacks his hand out. And yeah, how much armor do you have there?
Not that much. 6 armor.
6.
So that's going to be 1 on a negative.
1 on a negative.
No, sorry, I've got
It
2,
can't be 6.
armor. Sorry, 2 armor and 6 health. So that's 8. So it's gone. It's gone 5 below. So you will need the endurance of me.
Yeah. So how far below? What's your maximum amount?
Minus 5 a month now. So I've got my maximum amount is 8.
All right. So you have 8 normally, yeah.
Hang on.
Yeah,
is it in your 4? So it's in your left leg.
Yeah, left leg.
So you have he's asking. Inwals wants to know. Ignore the armor points. Inwals wants to know your max HP for that target.
6. And what are you now at? -5.
-5.
Okay, then. So it's still a serious wound at the moment. So you need to make an endurance check against my original roll, which was 77. Yeah, but my 77 beats your 58. So he sort of like whacks. Well, no, what he does, he sort of like whacks his hand into your leg, and then what he actually does is clenches his fist slightly, and then pulls like anything, and you just feel your flesh and your tendon and your bone crack,
torn apart,
and you fall. You're not dead, but
No, I'll be prone. I'll be on-
you are
yeah,
prone on the ground.
Ready to take the extra 13 damage when he pulls his hand out.
Yeah,
Well, you take half.
half. It will only be
Oh,
6.
half, sorry. Oh,
My
so-
leg.
So you're on the floor, and at that point, Hasra, it's your go.
well, all
Oh, hang on a minute.
do-
No, it's not your go actually, because the victim cannot attack or start to cast spell at all for 1d3 rounds. So let me just
Oh, that's right.
roll 1d3. 1d3 always 2. So 2.
Start to the next combat turn, it would be.
Yeah, depending so this is your first turn, and then if there's another turn, that'll be it. But you can parry if you wish, but you can't technically attack. So that'll be your 16. You can delay that action, by the way, if you wish.
So Hasra's just literally on the floor, just holding this hand that's inside his leg.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Okay, and Cyrus, your spell goes off.
Ooh. Let's do this. Let's do it. Bam, bam, baroo. All right. I'm gonna roll. Yeah, this. I'm gonna use my luck point.
I was going to say. So that'd take it to a 9. I think I have a resist.
If you want, yeah. Let me figure out resist.
It's evade, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's 9 that I'm resisting against. I get 15. So you send out those blazing trails of rat towards me, and Christoph has got his hand in Hasra's leg, and at the last minute looks up and just manages to move slightly to one side as your flaming tentacles go shooting past. Now remember, one of the good things about a rack spell is that as long as you concentrate, it's still there. So you're now, it's almost like whacked it out, almost like the Scarlet Witch, who I think is a fantastic character at the moment, by the way. And then you sort of like pull it back. So you still got your rack spell operational, but you'll just need to cast, your next cast will go out to hit him again. Okay, and I'll just evade if I need to. Yeah. Okay then. So that's Cyrus has got that. Bartleby, a man of the cloth. The
holy defender of faith of
We use a
Amriel.
defiler then.
Just to let you know, there is room behind you if you want to scarp or go and get help.
Intervals, please. No, my concern is I want to get Hasra out of there and to safety.
Teleport? No, you don't have teleport.
Oh, yes.
Well, and all of my helping spells are like I have to be right there, flicking your nose in order for them to work.
You could just chastise Christoph.
Yeah.
You could. What's the range of your shield spell?
My shield spell can only be cast on me.
All right.
The Aegis one that's like an actual shield is touch.
It looks like you're going to have to move it or lose it. I'm talking about Hasra here. You either move and save it.
Hasra's crawling along the floor.
Be a tank for us, Mr. Pickles.
No pressure,
yeah, I
Mr.
think
Pickles.
that's-
Mr.
I think that's
Pickles,
what
can
I'm
I
going
just
to do.
say, with the right combination of skills and spells, Mr. Pickles is more tanky than the tankiest tank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna bring my tank out. I'm gonna
Mr.
call on
Pickles.
Amriel to protect me so I can save my friends.
Bartleby whips his tank out. Go for it.
Every guard in Lindo is now making a beeline for him to put him away.
Yeah, and you sort of like call down Amriel's protection, and you put your Amriel's.
Really nice roll.
Yeah, it is 88 out of 99.
Well, I'd rather be over there saving Hasra, but I'm a coward. Put on my metal armor first.
So you now have Amriel's shield. I quite like those wings with the halo on for the shield spell, rather than protection, which is the shield. So you cast that and reduce your, and that's at a good magnitude, a magnitude of 10. So I have to cast a spell higher than 10 for magnitude to actually dispel it now. So, well, intensity is just about how much of a power it is. So brilliant. So you cast that on 14. Hengist, you're on 10.
Hengist is just going to keep swinging. 36 on an 87.
Yeah. And
Not the best, but...
he sort of like, he's got one hand in Hasra's leg and he sees the thing coming back and he tries to parry the blow and try to hit your hand or the pommel of your weapon as it comes swooping. Do you have a score over 100?
No.
No. Okay, so I need to take off that minus 7. Okay, here it goes. Yeah, and as it sort of like moves towards him, he just sort of like pushes your hand at the last moment, which deflects it long enough to skim away from him. And now we're going up to turn 3. Okay, so I've just replied to somebody in chat. It's his turn, Hasra, and he uses his action to pull his hand out of your leg. So I think he needs to make
it's a brawn roll.
Brawn roll. Yeah, let's see.
It's the one I've got really high.
Yeah. He sort of like goes like that, and he pulls it out, and there's a sound of tearing flesh and cracking bone as he sort of like pulls it out, almost like keeping hold of half your flesh and the fleshy part of your thing, which gives you another 6 points of damage.
Yep. Hasra will mutter, "Oh, I know what Harvey's neck felt like."
And I think that will take it to a major wound.
It's a major wound. Yeah,
It's gone.
Yeah, so it's either severed, transfixed, shattered, or ripped off, and it's literally shattered. And he sort of like pulls it out from you. You are immediately incapacitated. You're unable to continue to fight. And could you just roll for me an endurance roll?
Certainly can. A 14 out of 97.
But doesn't match my 77 hit. It would have been. I thought there was a critical there, but that's what I thought. He rips it
just slightly off.
Yeah, it rips out of your leg, and you slowly feel your consciousness drift away, and a blackness comes out, and you slowly pass out. And until rescued, you're out of this. You are losing blood, by the way. What's your healing rate?
Oh gosh, healing rate would be. Healing rate is 3.
So if you're not healed or stabilized in the next 15 rounds, then you are out of it.
Gotcha.
That's fine. Bosby's got 14 rounds before he has to worry about it.
He just has to make it his way all the way over there, and then also somehow absorb all the damage.
Sorry.
Super tank.
Things are starting to look a little grim.
So some bad rolls there, I think. Some bad rolls there.
Universally.
One game I don't call it that we're going to die.
I'm just going to.
No, I know you've jinxed us, Pickles.
I'm going to make it honest.
Yeah, so that's his on the 22nd. That's his roll. Hasra's out of it on the 16th. Cyrus, you're next on the 15th.
Am I do I have to roll again? My
I know you can push it back out, and I just have to evade. I can still evade, but the chances of me having any points back, and that's why you need to sort of like keep your original dice roll, if that makes sense. It's a bit like
it was 9.
9, brilliant. Was that a crit? No, it wasn't it?
No, well, yeah, I switched it because it was 11,
Yeah, that's it. So you sort of like send out your fiery spirits, and Christoph has no action points left, so you just need to do a hit location and some damage for me, I think.
buddy. 7.
7. Is that an arm or another leg again, is it? No, it's his abdomen. You caught him round his waist as he's got a handful of Hasra's leg in his right hand.
Don't wave me around.
Is that a full 4? Is that doubled or anything, or just?
No, it's just a 4.
Oh. So it sort of like wraps round him, and there's a slight Hengist, you're close to it, and you see it sort of like wrapped round him, and you hear a slight sizzle. This magical power, this magical fire seems to be causing some damage there. But that's about it. So Cyrus, that's still wrapped around his abdomen. So you have a choice next turn. You can either, I presume you do have an extra action point to do turn 3, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So in round 2, you can either pull it back and send it out again, okay, and hit a different location, and he will get a chance to evade it, or you can keep it where it is and do some more damage on it. Okay, so that's your choice. Okay, then, Cyrus and Bartleby, do you have any action? No, you're a 2 action point person, haven't you?
Actually, wait. I would like to spend one of my luck points to get an action here, if I may. And I would like to use that action to rush over to Hasra.
Oh, yes. Nice.
I'm going to save you, Hasra.
Oh,
and that's my turn.
Yeah, so you come. So you can move and do an action. It's sort of like all joined together now. So you can cast your
my miracle.
We're having a miracle. Yeah.
Well, I mean, well, because the heal folk magic, it's
that's not going to be too good.
Well, since I'm not an actual acolyte, I don't think I can do anything for major wounds besides stabilize.
I was going to say, no matter what, you're just going to stabilize, aren't you?
Yeah, so I think I'm going to go with folk magic, do a little heal here, realizing that this leg, whoo, it's above me. I need to bring some help here, so I'm going to stop stammering.
Nice.
Woo!
Yeah.
Not bleeding out.
Yeah, so that's a folk magic, isn't it? So yeah, it stabilizes the bleeding out, so that healing rate is now cancelled out, and you're 1 luck point down. Hengist, do you have any action points left?
Hengist does.
You can see now Christoph is sort of like completely at your disposal. He's sizzling around the middle. He's got a bit of Hasra's leg in his hand. Hasra is stabilized on the floor. You can see Bartleby's frantically casting spells over him. What would you like to do?
With grim determination, Hengist gets a 24 and 87 standard.
Yeah, nice. He's got
He's got no 87.
He's got no action points left.
Ooh.
So you'll get a special. So it'd be special hit location and damage. And don't forget you got blade sharp on, so it'll be up 1 level of damage.
Yeah,
Make
I've
sure
done
that's
that.
too.
So special will be press advantage.
Okay, so he will not be able to. He will not be able to attack. He can only use his actions to defend.
Hit location is that.
Oh,
chest.
nice!
Ooh.
And damage is.
Oh no, it's not bad.
Is that
was,
with blade sharp?
yeah?
It's not the best, but it's not that bad.
Because he's doing 2d6s plus 1d2 of that. He got one. If you hover over
I
the
got a 3, a 1, and a 2.
yeah, so if you hover over the 6, you can see what
average.
he actually rolled. So yeah, and
okay.
you sort of like probably swipe it across rather than sticking it in, and you sort of like rip it across, and he's got this lovely white linen shirt on, if you remember, and you just sort of like slice it across, and you cut the linen shirt nicely with your blade, and you draw your blade across his very white and pale skin, and you slice it across, and you can see instantly blood sort of like seeps up through the cut, and he sort of like looks down at it, quite shocked. You'll definitely think there's a sign of shock on his face.
Oh yeah, power memory, baby.
Yeah, and that will take us.
Hengist doesn't say that. That was player saying that.
Yeah, and that takes us on to round 2. Round 2, turn 1. So we are back up with Christoph, and with this flame round him and this bleeding cut across the top, all of a sudden. He smiles at you, Hengist, and goes, and all that's left is a mist. Well, it looks like dark, wispy lines. It doesn't look like smoke. It looks more tendrily than that. And you notice that Hasra's lump of leg falls down to the ground. And you were sort of like, Cyrus, you notice that your spell is suddenly cancelled because there's nothing there for it to attach to. So you're just holding it again now. And you sort of like swipe, and even Bartleby, you sort of like healing up. And then you look up, and Christoph is not there at all. However...
Does anybody else think he looks like Robbie Williams?
Nice.
Christoph? Like, the icon?
No, Robbie the singer. Robbie Williams is an English guy.
Oh, okay. I thought you said Robin Williams. I was like,
No.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. And
I heard what Medivac meant to say. Don't worry.
oh, okay.
He's dressed up as Mrs. Doubtfire. And
I was like, what? There was no.
Doubtfire. Hello.
Oh
dear.
yes.
That's quite a good voice.
That's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's
That's
pretty
pretty
good. There.
Cyrus,
Yes.
you have just taken some damage in your 2,
That's right too.
Oh, the legs.
and you've just taken 14 points of damage as you feel a hooked hand bury itself into the back of your thigh, and you probably let out quite a substantial cry. You need to make for it. What kind of wound is that, please?
Well, it should be a big one because I only have 4 HP and 3 armor there.
4 HP, so that's 7. So 7 points to take you down to 0, and then 7. Yeah, so that's going to be a serious wound, a major wound coming onto your leg. Right. The first thing that you need to do is you need to make a willpower check to maintain your spell.
Okay. I'm able to move my spell, right?
You're at the present moment in time. Yes.
Yeah. Well, with willpower, if I pass my willpower check, I'm able to move it.
Yes.
Something.
But if you fail, your willpower check is to remain
Get it.
concentrated on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Fuck.
despite
I'm. Yeah. I'm not gonna use my luck on this one because I don't need to use my
okay, so
I don't need to use that spell.
Despite all your training, and the Red Order puts you through some very serious training, you suddenly feel this pain in the back of your leg as part of your thigh is sort of like ripped out through your robes and everything. First thing you need to make for me, please, is an endurance check. You just need to get above 29.
Above a 29?
Yeah, so you do, because my attack roll was 29 out of 91. Do you wish to look it?
Yeah.
Okay, so you need to roll it again. You could, if you wish, use your luck to take my major wound down to a serious wound, if you would prefer. But that would take a luck point, and that endurance roll would still. So you have a choice. You either use a luck point to do that endurance roll again, because you can't use the same luck. You can't use luck more than once on one action. So you can either use a luck point to re-roll that, but you will have a major wound then, which means that your leg is useless. But if you would succeed if you get below 39 and above 21, but you won't be unconscious. You'll still be on the floor. Your spell is broken, and so because you got a major wound, it'll be harder for you to cast a spell then. Or what you can do is keep that endurance roll, i.e. a fail, and use a luck point to move the major wound to a serious wound. Okay, and what...
Does serious wound knock me out?
No, so a serious wound, you'll be at 1 below your -7, so you'll be like -6. And what will happen is that your leg will give way and you will fall to the floor. But you're still conscious. You won't be able to take any action, offensive action, for 1d3 turns. But after that, you're fine. You can still parry and do reactive actions.
Okay. I'm gonna use my luck point to bring it down to a serious.
Okay then. So yeah, to serious. So he sort of like pulls it out. And you use your luck. He's actually missed one of the arteries and that he was going for, and he pulls it out, but you let out a cry and your leg gives way and he stumbles to the floor. And Hengist, you notice that Christoph is... I'm just moving you so I can fit him on the map for no other reason. Is stood... well, he's actually sort of like down, almost like hero landing. When superheroes jump out and they land, he's almost like that. And he's almost like holding up as some kind of trophy a bit of Cyrus's leg, as if he pulled a bit of Hasra's out.
It's got a leg fetish, hasn't he?
Yeah. And Cyrus, you are now prone on the ground.
Used to be an adventure like you,
Cyrus,
and then I met Christoph.
Yeah. If you want to roll for me, Cyrus, a 1d3. That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
So on your 15, you can delay. Well, you can delay the action, which means that you. So in the next, not the next turn, you can do. So in this turn, you can only protect yourself. Okay, so on 15 you would delay your action. So when we come to the second combat turn, you're back in action, but you could actually parry then, and that's not a problem. So you're out on the floor with blood seeping out, and Hengist, you can see Christoph is crouched over Cyrus with this bit of flesh in his hand. And he almost like looks at you, and he brings one of his arms round the hand that is not covered in blood and gore, and he looks at you and he goes like that, smiling at you as he does so. Bartleby, you're up first.
I would like to cast
Rush
prayer.
Bartleby needs a siren on his head.
I presume that hearing the yelp behind me, I turn to see what's gone on.
Oh
here.
yeah, you're just like finishing up your spell, stabilizing Hasra, whose breathing was quite ragged and shallow, and he's sort of like his breathing has returned to normal, and you can see that the blood is no longer pouring from his thigh. It seems to be stabilized, but you know, whether it's give or take whether or not he'll keep that leg.
Amriel will deal with that later. In this case, I'm going to cast the prayer of win-win on Christoph to express my anger. It's my angry prayer. You will be punished.
This is your
horrible sinner.
Yeah, this is his harsh word. This is your harsh word spell.
You're being chastised, and I'm angry.
Christoph,
that you're
you've
doing
been
this.
a very naughty boy. Take this.
You have
You're
an
supposed to
evade.
be a nice man.
You're a very naughty boy.
Wow. 63
You have
out
an
of...
evade if you'd like to donate an action point.
I certainly would love to do that.
That's why it's the win-win. No matter what, I get something.
Yeah, he sees it coming and will evade it.
That makes me feel sad.
So
Win-win. Win-win.
But yeah, yes.
So no,
win-win.
sorry, I thought you were going to say, well, even though I thought there was sort of like, even though you've made your saving throw, you still take half damage.
Oh no, it's you lost an action point to evade, I think.
Yeah, so he sort of like dives out of the way and sort of like comes out.
Taking the other half of Cyrus's leg with him.
He drops the gore from Cyrus's leg, and he sort of like,
good.
as you bring down Amriel's anger onto him, he sort of
Wrath.
like, he almost like sees it coming and dives to one side, and he's going to do something which he can do in his abilities.
Uh-oh.
And he dives to one side, and at the last moment, almost like side rolls and comes up here, cat-like again. And after taunting Hengist, he just sort of like turns his hand round to you, Bartleby, and goes,
Oh, rude. Vulgar in the face of a man of the cloth.
You are thrice damned.
Can we look at these rolls that Inwills is doing?
they're all
They're
here.
insane.
I am
insane.
I am purposefully
84 out of 84.
Look at 84 out of 84 exactly.
I know. Boom.
I know, and we're both getting like hundreds and 96s across the board, and you're like, I'm gonna make every.
Amazing.
Hengist.
Hengist accepts the challenge and he moves forward, and then as he gets within range, he's gonna take a swing. This chap is going down.
Oh, yeah.
5 on 87. I've hit.
Let's see whether or not he parries your blow. Yep. He parries your blow. And you...
but how big is his weapon?
Well, yeah, and he will take half damage from you.
Okay.
Bunnybox is cheering for... So Bunnybox says, can we pixelate this for YouTube? Yeah, I'll just put a whole load of pixels. Right? I think it might...
Remind me, do I have to roll... I'd roll target location.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't get a special, though.
No, you don't get a special.
No, that's fine. I didn't think so. Hit location. Left arm.
Yeah, that seems appropriate.
And then I roll my damage, and you take half of
Take
what's
half
coming
of
at
it.
you!
Yeah. So I take 7, which is nice on my left arm, did you say?
Left arm.
Yeah, and you sort of like slice straight across it. And you can actually, you even think, even as he pushed up his arm to try to parry it, you sort of like slice through it, and it almost like cuts through to his bone. He's going to make an endurance check.
So Hengist comes down, and as he goes up to parry, Hengist does a last-minute adjustment. So he the first attack, the first swing was a feint. The second one, he's just adjusted it by just like a few
What was your
centimeters.
attack roll?
The attack roll was 35.
Oh, unlucky, I get 42. So I actually keep up and alive. But he is injured. And you saw that the blade actually did some damage to his skin. And we are coming back up to the top of the round, and it's round 2, combat turn 2, and it's Christoph to go first. And he, as he tries to block with this arm and you slice through it, he brings this arm round to attack. And gets an 86. You can either evade or parry. It's up to you. Or take it.
Hengist is going to try and parry. I've got a 1% chance of parrying.
Oh, nice.
1%
Roll
chance
away.
of getting the parry.
It's
No,
like
2%, 2%, because it's 86, 87, or I crit.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Bunnybox has just said that, given Hengist a new title. I just think it's so funny. Hengist, the chopper of Lindo.
Oh, Hengist has had that for ages. Hengist's first ever
Get
session,
to
he was
the
chopping legs.
chopper! Get to the chopper!
They used to call
Get to the
Hengist
chopper.
the delimmer or the delegger because he was chopping legs and arms
Yeah.
left, right, and centre at the beginning.
Come on, let's see whether or not... No, you can't. Okay, so
Hengist tries though.
he will have a special because you've failed your... Oh no! I'll just do normal damage because it will stop because you succeeded. Oh no! Okay then. So if are parries opposed rolls? No, parries are not opposed rolls. So you've succeeded and so have I. So I will do some damage, but it'll probably your weapon is more, so your weapon will absorb it. Not a problem. But let's just see. How much damage he would have done. Yeah, he would have done 12 points of damage, but you managed to parry the blow as it comes towards you. Cyrus, you're on the floor. Oh, you can only... This is the turn that you can only... Oh, no, you had last turn. Yeah, so you can do an action. Just to remind you now, because you're injured, all your attack rolls are no longer standard. They'll be higher, and you're prone as well.
Well, I'm gonna make myself a little bit more useful. I'm trying to think of which spell would be best in this case. I think I'm gonna do bypass armor on, and I'm gonna cast that on Hengist's his sword.
Okay, so you'll bypass armor, don't you? It'll be range. That's. Do you cast it on a weapon? Is that what you do?
Yeah, you cast it on a weapon, and it bypasses the armor of the thing it's supposed to.
Bypass armor affects objects, ornaments, or natural weapons of the creatures that can pass through it. The spell allows a weapon or trap to ignore the number of arm. Nice. This will also work against. Okay, then. So, what intensity are you casting it at? Because that's the important bit of it, isn't it?
I'm doing max intensity, so 7.
Cool.
That's my max intensity. So, yeah, hopefully he's able to do some actual damage to him.
Okay, then. So, you'll have to take 2 turns with it in any case, won't you? Because you're going to have to cast it at range, so it's definitely going to be so this will be your first turn spell casting, so that's 15. And Bartleby, you're up at 14.
And still quite angry. Bartleby shouts out something like, "I didn't say this was optional," and he's going to cast Shock again. Here we are.
Nice.
Yeah, you got an evade if you want it.
Yeah.
If you got it.
He does. But he's going to use a special sort of evade that he's got.
Oh no.
And you fire the bolt down at him, and he almost you see him, Hengist, looking at you, and it's as if time slows down, and he just looks at you. He looks you straight in the eye. I can imagine your long braided hair is a bit sort of sweaty and plastered down, and he's just looking still super refreshed and cool. And he sort of looks at you, and time slows down, and you see him almost look up as this bolt of bright light comes down from the sky, and he turns around all in slow motion and looks at you, Hengist, and goes, and winks at you. And then you see him disappear, and you see that smoky tendril appear there again as the bolt of light shatters down onto the ground. And Bartleby, are you stood up or crouched?
I assume it's sort of crouched with because I had a hand on Hasra and I turned and I'm, but no, actually I would say at this point he's standing and pointing with all full rage.
And you sort of see it, and you just see the smoke dissipate, and then from behind you, before you can act or anything like that, behind you, you just hear a voice that says, "Hello, Bartleby," and you get the really distinct feeling that Christoph is behind you. That uses up his action, and yes, Hengist, you're up.
Save me.
Hengist so the chap's just vanished, so Hengist is going to turn around, and if he can turn around and move, he's going to...
Oh,
I'll just go and fight him and attack him if possible.
Yeah, a free action to assess the situation. So just roll your perception check, because you need to, if you're going to assess the situation, you need to do a perception check.
I just want to find out where he is.
So that's what your perception check will be in the midst of combat. Oh, yeah, and you sort of
Hengist is on it.
You look around. Mr. Pickles was so tense
Mr. Pickles didn't want to be...
And you charge down. Do you have an action point left?
Hengist has 1, so that's his action. He's moving.
Well, you can hit at the end. Yeah, you can hit at the end. That's fine.
Ooh.
57 on an 87.
Nice.
Coming at you.
Very nice. And you sort of swing his the weapon towards him. and he does something that you haven't seen before at all, because as the weapon comes past him, there's this moment of slowing down, and the weapon comes towards him. Can you just roll? Whereabouts would you like it to hit? Abdomen, chest, or head, probably. Which one would you go for?
Slash the head off.
Probably chest.
Okay.
The bigger target.
Chest, yeah. So yeah, roll your damage. You really need a big one here. You really need a big one.
10.
Nice. And as the sword comes towards him, he seems to cast with his fingers slightly bent and twisted, some kind of counter spell of some description, and the sword bypasses him completely, and your swing carries on, and Bartleby, you take 10 hit points of damage into your chest.
Thankfully, the Amriel shield of mine is exactly 10.
Right, and so the sword comes round, and your look of pure horror, Hengist, as you suddenly realise what your powerful, that would have been quite a it would be incapacitate him completely. He slowly deflects it round, and you suddenly see it aiming straight, two-handed, straight into Bartleby's chest, and there's a whoosh of light, of moonlight, as Amriel's shield comes into existence and whacks into it and deflects it momentarily. Bartleby, I'm going to ask you, please, just to make a brawn roll for me. Yeah, and there's a terrific impact of magic here. The dark magic that Christoph has just cast, and your bright beam, and there's almost like that bit when they both hit together, and it sort of like whacks into you, and you feel yourself, and you're not too sure whether or not it's the clash of magic or maybe Amriel's hand at the last moment pushing you further away. But you move and you stumble back out the way as it sort of like bypasses you. And then we go on to turn 3, because that was Hengist's roll. And it's Christoph's turn. And he brings back one of his hands like this, and he shoots it, hands clasped like that, straight at your chest, Hengist.
Hengist is using his last point of luck to give an action point so that he can attempt to parry.
Yeah, nice one. Go for it.
79 on an 87.
Yeah, and you see his hand coming, and you quickly reverse your sword and to sort of like bat it away. But unfortunately, you don't see his second hand.
Oh, flurry!
That comes in and sweeps across, and he will use it to do. Let's see how much damage we do. That was poor rolls.
Yes.
Yeah,
This is on fire.
he does 5 points of damage to your head.
You just hear of his nails screeching out the outside of Hengist's helmet.
Nice.
Dead on 5 armor points.
Okay, Hasra's Cyrus, you're up.
Yes. I'm gonna cast
Bypass armor. Yeah.
bypass armor. Yeah.
Yeah. So just roll your invocation. Yeah, nice. Deduct it. So now you have. So just remind me, Hengist, you now have bypass armor on, so you will bypass any of the armor that I put on. So Bartleby, what would you like to do?
I would like to spend another point of luck to get another action, so that Bartleby perhaps can, getting knocked back with his force, roll into his second plan of action to lunge towards Cyrus. To help Cyrus out.
Okay, then. So you can get up there.
And in this case, his leg isn't ripped off, so I'm gonna guess that he's tough, and I'm gonna cast a miracle on him to patch his leg up.
Yeah, so you patch his serious wound up, which means it's only a serious. So which one are you doing? Heal wound.
Healing his serious wound to full health. So
you will gain your all your hit points back in that leg, Cyrus. So at the end, when it comes back up to you, in the next round, you will be able to stand up if you wish. And that brings us to... does anybody else have actions that round? Hengist, I think you've... Yeah. Bartleby, I think you need to make a endurance check.
I'm Buffleby.
Yeah, you're totally fine and absolutely not a problem. However, you notice, Hengist, you're in front of Christoph, and he doesn't seem to he's still there. He's not moving out the way at all, but he sort of like flicks his hand out towards Bartleby, and Bartleby's down healing Cyrus, his leg, and he's all goes like this, and you just see the end of what seems to be a bolt of blackness leave his hand, Hengist. You're probably really transfixed onto him, and it comes. You are totally unaware of this as it comes towards you.
Towards me?
Towards you, Bartleby. And you take 11 hit points of damage square in your back or in your chest. So you're sort of like crouched over, and this bolt of black energy whacks into your back.
The 11, I have 10 points of Amriel, so I get a little bit of a nasty sting.
Yeah, and it sort of like comes in, and you expect Amriel to protect you from this. But as time slows down, you see Amriel's magic appear up, but a bit like the scene in the Fantastic Four where the Invisible Woman tries to put the shield in and the Silver Surfer's javelin comes through it. You see Amriel's light come up to protect you, but this dark magic seems to be more powerful, and for a moment you lose a little bit of faith, a little bit of devotion, as it comes up and it slides through it, and you take the 11 hit points straight in your chest.
Would this be ignoring natural armor as well, like the furs that Bartleby
Yeah,
wears?
it looks a bit like it looks very much like the rack spell, but probably in a different form.
Gotcha. Okay, in that case, it doesn't just bring me down to 5. It brings me down to -5. Wait, am I doing it right? Because my health is 6. So -5.
Yeah. Okay then. So roll
a serious wound.
Yeah, roll an endurance check for me. Yeah, and you sort of like stagger and fall down, and you suddenly notice that this blackness is actually in you. It's not just hit you, it's somehow ingested into you. And as you look down at your body, you can see this blackness spreading round your torso, and sort of like, Cyrus, you see it suddenly creeping up his neck, and all of a sudden, Bartleby, you just feel this tremendous shock of pain in your body. And Cyrus, you see him arch his back and let out a scream before he slumps down onto the floor, lifeless. Okay, let me... I am not being nasty, chat. So okay,
Oh my God.
That's on 22. So 16 Hasra, Cyrus 15.
Shit.
You're going to have to get up no matter what, which is going to be your
Yeah.
action.
Yeah, I was
Or
just
you
gonna-
could try to run scampering away if you wish.
No, I'll fight.
You don't
I'll
sound too convinced about it.
Yeah, hopefully if okay, I'm gonna stand up for my action.
Yeah,
And because I'm probably gonna do rack next.
nice. So that'll be 2 turns, won't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you stand up of 15. Hengist, you're on 10.
This is attacking. He's taking this guy down. This guy's just taken, as far as he knows, because he's got his back to Cyrus. His back to Cyrus. As far as he knows, he's just taken out all 3 of his friends.
Yeah.
And Harmony Lee, and goodness how many other people in Lindo.
I did
Game
say it
face
would
on.
be a good finale.
But he was your Bessie.
Yeah, you can hear Hasra's voice. Told you so.
Angus is concentrating so hard, he's oblivious. All he's seeing is his moves. What's his name's moves and the sword and all that sort of stuff. So I got 36 on an 87.
Yeah, nice. And Christoph gets a 91 on 91.
Jesus.
And he seems to do something that you haven't seen before, although Cyrus will be aware, and you recognize the spell incantation that Christoph has just cast with his ability to cast instant spells. And this time, as Hengist sweeps, he again juts his hand out, and which flies towards you, but using the knowledge that, or the idea that Cyrus just gave me, he bypasses your armor for 8 points in your head.
Whose head?
My head.
Hengist's.
My head? Oh, I guess that's.
So that's -2.
So you need to roll an endurance check. You need to beat 91.
Can't. My skill's
You
83.
get critical, you can do it.
Yeah,
Oh,
if you get a 1 to... Yeah!
It works both ways.
Yeah!
Thank you, Medivac. I set you up perfectly.
Oh,
Fantastic. And he sort of like pulls his hand away, and you sort of like stagger from the blow, and you sort of like, you know, the pain is racking through your body as he sort of like withdraws his hand. It almost like felt that he was inside you, and he pulls it out, and you sort of like stagger with pain. You need to roll a 1d3.
Oh, I can't do that. How do I do? I can never remember.
Forward slash roll and then space 1d3.
Yeah. Oh, Missy.
Two turns. So you can only defend for 2 turns because you still got that serious wound. And Christoph, sensing that victory is nigh, he almost like looks at you and sort of like keeps sort of like looking down at your chest and maybe your neck, and you suddenly see this darkness approaching up to you, and your body starts to convulse as this blackness takes control of you, and as it spreads up around you, you feel your body shaking and shaking, and then almost like as if your heart is being crushed by the dark magic, you fall unconscious onto the floor. And as you try desperately to summon up your spell that's going to come towards you, Cyrus, that you can cast, he sort of like starts to walk purposely towards you, and he gets closer and closer and closer, and you do actually manage to cast the spell.
I can't change what spell I want to cast, right?
You can, but you would have to recast it.
Got it. All right. Yeah, I'll. I guess I'll cast Rack.
Go for it. Yeah, you fire out the rack spell, and the flames, in almost like in desperation, come shooting out of your hands, and they fly towards him. And just as they get close to him, he does a flick of his hand and dismisses the magic, and he walks quite calmly up to you, and transfixed, you see him come closer and closer. And then at the last moment, you see him rear back his head, and his lips part up to reveal those canine fangs as he whacks it into your neck, and you feel your windpipe just clenched and crushed as the life starts to be sucked out of you. And at that point, Cyrus, just like everybody else has already experienced, you wake up in a very hot, sweaty, nightmare-soaked dream. And as you all wake up at that point, you hear very strange cries. Cries within your dorms, cries to where you are. If people, Cyrus and Hasra, you're upstairs, and you can hear Basil let out a cry, and it's as if the whole of Lindo perhaps has just suffered or come out of a rather hideous and very realistic nightmare. Bartleby, can you just roll for me, please, your Law of Monsters?
I would love to. Use a luck point, my last luck point, to reroll.
Go for it.
Because I'm good at something, I promise. Pow!
No,
Slightly worse.
you're not good at this. So yeah, and
I saw that clip earlier. I know I'm not good at this.
and you're not too sure, but you do have a vague recollection of towns being terrorized by some entity, some negative being that actually feeds off the negative emotion, and you're not too sure what it's called, but just to put a name to it for you to use for the rest of the sessions, it would appear that Lindo is under the influence of a dream stalker. And with that, we will bring today's session
Can I just
to
do
a
one
close.
thing? Can I ask everybody to make a perception test? Because I'm just going to go through it and go, George!
Tell me, did you feel powerless, worried, concerned?
Not until the end.
Sure. Yeah, I did.
And that's what a dream stalker does. It feeds off the
Well, it's like being
negative
married.
energy that it implies and forces onto dreams. You'll know that, Bartleby. I'll let you succeed with your law monsters roll. So yeah, well done.
Oh, ouch.
But maybe it would also give you some indication of... I do feel sorry for you, Hasra, because you went so early. And can I say, you played the part. You played the part excellently from beginning to end after you were done, because you were clapping people's scores and saying, well done and everything. So just so you know, Cyrus, as the other people passed out, I sent them a message via Discord.
Oh, okay.
So the message read, don't say anything, you wake up covered in sweat from a nightmare. So forth.
So
and
you did, I've only just got it.
So he was actually like,
So Longshanks has planned other things for the next Saturday.
Yeah, no, that's it. That was gone. That was me
I
gone.
thought your reply, Medivac, was the best. I thought I was dead and I was going to get Hasra's brother to come and revenge him.
I'm Hasra's brother.
Hasra's
Hasra.
twin brother.
It's called Khan.
Hasro.
I hope
Hasra's twin brother.
I hope you
come to
didn't
find my lost
mind
brother
the
to turn him to the
you
tribe.
wake up and it's all a dream plot line, but it was
It does.
it wasn't essential at that point. And well, maybe you'll think twice about messing with Christoph. We'll pick up the next adventure that it's still Mists and Shadows, because you can probably guess what you're going to have to do next. But we'll pick that up next time. So if you're in the chat, thank you so much for bearing with us. I hope you enjoyed the plot line as much as I did, and maybe not as nice as the characters did at that point, but anyway, and the players side. But thank you for your support, Bunnybox24, for giving Hasra that second
I'm not
boost.
worthy.
Can I say, I thought it was really, really nice that nobody tried to save you. Did you notice that? Nobody was saying, donate. To be honest with you, that was my only worry.
Oh.
That if somebody did that, then I was going to
I'm so sorry.
have to do something. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope the negative vibe, and we'll see what happens next time we meet together. Until next time, all the viewers, please, and players, please stay safe in this mad and unbelievable world. And as well as staying safe, also please remember to stay positive. And I will catch you all later. Say goodbye to them.
Bye.
Bye. See you later, people. Bye.